Welcome to episode number 35 of the ABCs from God, the truth about being Christian. Today's show is entitled The Great Reset, or rather The Great Resell, Fascism Repackaged. In last week's show, we shared how the truth always wins over the lie with God. To help support this channel and to help spread the word, please hit the subscribe button and make sure you smack the bell to keep updated on our new shows. And if you're new to this channel, welcome and thank you for joining us today. Have you ever opened a nicely packaged gift, maybe with a bow on top of it, and been slightly disappointed with what was inside? Maybe as a child at Christmas time, opening gifts. Your disappointed feeling is similar to many of the recent graduates from university. What I mean is they leave their education system for the real world and discover that the gift of education they received filled them with hatred for their country and its history. That is, it was not a gift of education, it was a deception, rather than the unfraudulent truth and optimism for their present time and their future. What happened, university scholar and parent of this student? For one, you went into the university to learn from experts, but upon graduation and further reflection, you realized many of your so-called expert professors were just indoctrinated Marxist socialist tools. I say tools because many of them are purchased education leaders utilized by enemy states or enemies within the state to perpetuate the spread of communism. How can this be, you say? Well, in a society that begins phasing out the true and only holy God, in a society such as we are now living in, God allows the fall. The devil and the demons he is allowed to currently run rampant on the earth are causing much havoc. That is, with the many fallen human souls that have rejected Jesus' offer, thus rejecting God himself. And for our new viewers today, what is this gift Jesus Christ is offering us? It is the gift of life, real life. This gift goes beyond flippant happiness to a joy that is eternal. Listen to what Paul, talking to the Philippians, says. Bible quote. From the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verses 8 to 11. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by being obedient to the point of death on a cross. For this reason also God highly exalted him and bestowed on him the name which is above every name, so that at the name of Jesus every knee will bow, of those who are in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and that every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Let's look at the current rejectors of our one and only great God and what their plans are by using a practical street terms definition of fascism, Marxism, and progressivism. Fascism, think death by suicide. They terrorize you until you give in. Marxism, think death by execution. They take you by force all at once. And progressivism, think death by cancer. They creep in slowly over time like a cancer. Please see my description below. Obviously, we can now see progressivism in our liberal and democratic parties in North America. To do some of your own research, I would suggest to start with a new book that has just come out this past week. Here is the introduction to the book, which you can see in my description. Six-time #1 best-selling author, national radio star and Levin TV and Fox News host Mark Levin explains how the dangers he warned against in the timely yet timeless David Limbaugh, author of Jesus is Risen, bestseller Liberty and Tyranny, have come to pass. In American Marxism, Levin explains how the core elements of Marxist ideology are now pervasive in American society and culture, from our schools, the press and corporations, to Hollywood, the Democrat Party, and the Biden presidency, and how it is often cloaked in deceptive labels like progressivism, democratic socialism, social activism, and more. With his characteristic trenchant analysis, Levin digs into the psychology and tactics of these movements, the widespread brainwashing of students, the anti-American purposes of critical race theory and the Green New Deal, and the escalation of repression and censorship to silence opposing voices and enforce conformity. Levin exposes many of the institutions, intellectuals, scholars, and activists who are leading this revolution, and provides us with some answers and ideas on how to confront them. As Levin writes, the counter-revolution to the American Revolution is in full force, and it can no longer be dismissed or ignored, for it is devouring our society and culture, swirling around our everyday lives, and ubiquitous in our politics, schools, media, and entertainment. And like before, Levin seeks to rally the American people to defend their liberty. Wake up and take up the cause for your American freedoms. We have the winning card in our pocket, Jesus Christ. Let's go. Bible quote. From the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verses 15 to 18. So that you will prove yourselves to be blameless and innocent, children of God above reproach in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among who you appear as lights in the world, holding firmly the word of life. So that on the day of Christ I take pride because I did not run in vain, nor labor in vain, but even if I am being poured out as a drink offering upon the sacrifice and service of your faith, I rejoice and share my joy with you all. You too, I urge you, rejoice in the same way and share your joy with me. Please join with me for next week's show entitled, Jail is for Criminals, Not for Preachers. If you enjoyed this show, please subscribe, like and share it with a neighbor, a political leader, a lawyer, a judge, a media person, a teacher, a doctor, or a family member, and with a religious leader. For those of you who are currently without a church group, please feel free to go to my description and listen to a weekly sermon from the Richmond Alliance Church. We also recommend our brothers down south, John MacArthur at Grace to You, and Alistair Begg at Truth for Life. If you've just come to Jesus Christ or have been following him for a while, begin or keep up your daily habit of reading the Holy Bible. Be part of a Bible-based church and join with my friends and I in sharing God's truths, his ABCs about being Christian. God bless you.